Hello, this is Coach Jonny Carter with the Chicago Fire. Have another English Premier League opinions piece for world-class coaching. Of course, no Premier League games this weekend due to the International Football World Cup qualifiers. Most Premier League players, of course, were on show for the English national team who have managed to qualify for the World Cup 2018 in Russia. Fantastic, good job to the English national team. How are England going to do when they finally get to the tournament? Well, based on these previous two games that we saw against Slovenia and Lithuania, I'm afraid that the English national team, in my opinion anyway, are not going to do so well. I think they've got a few tactical issues that need to be ironed out. I think there's a lot of missing direction from the team. Players maybe not playing in their best positions. A manager, I think, is a little bit naive, maybe doesn't have the inspiration to carry a national team this big at a World Cup. Okay, England have won these games, they've qualified for the World Cup, but I think when they get there and they start playing some of the bigger boys, when they play Brazil, when they play Germany, when they play Iceland, I think they're going to get found out a little bit. So let's just have a little tactical analysis of where England are, maybe what they need to do to perhaps be a little bit more successful when the World Cup comes around. Okay, so Slovenia, they played a 4-2-3-1. I could kind of understand the game plan a little bit. They kind of went for a bit of speed up top. He had Oxlade-Chamberlain, even though he's not really playing for his club team, somehow gets an international start. They had Sterling was playing in a number 10 position, of course, Dele Alli suspended, Lallana injured, but then Rashford out on the left-hand side as well. Harry Kane up top, which I think I can understand that. Pretty pragmatic central midfield, Henderson, I'm not the biggest fan of Henderson, and Dyer, and then a defensive group we'll talk about in a little bit. So he kind of went for a speed up top, and I can understand that. It's not a great game plan, it's not particularly sophisticated, but at least it is a game plan, which is something that we haven't seen from all England managers over the course of time. But I don't think that this is going to work well enough for England when they get to a World Cup finals. I think they're missing a little bit of a trick here with Rashford. I think he was clearly the best player in that Slovenia game, but he's a little bit wasted out wide. I'd like to see him come a little bit more central, connect a little bit more with Harry Kane, and get some of his magic, some of his mischief, some of his talent a little bit closer to the goal. So fast forward a couple of days, then the Lithuania game comes along, and Southgate does make some changes. I think he's going a little further down the line that I would like to see. He reverted to 3 at the back, but went with 4 in the midfield and went with 3 up top, which once again this time meant that Rashford pushed out to the left-hand side. I think the 3 at the back works for me. I don't think any of those central defenders for England, whoever it is, Cahill, Stones, Smalling, Phil Jones, whoever they choose to put in there, I don't think are good enough at the highest end at the international level to be representing the country in the World Cup in a 4-man defensive group, 2 central defenders. I think it works better to have 3 of those guys back there covering each other. The one asset from the central defenders is they do have pretty decent ball-playing central defenders. John Stones, not a great defender, but at least he's pretty good with the ball at his feet, so fits in a 3-man defensive group. So I like that change for England. But then I wanted to see 5 in midfield. I think the wing-backs or full-backs, they possess a lot of speed. They can work those outside channels all day. So let's see them as wing-backs rather than as full-backs. That I can understand. Dyer in the centre of midfield, don't have too many problems with that. Henderson in the centre of midfield, whether it's a 4-man defensive group, whether it's a triangle in there with 5 across the midfield, I think he's a lightweight in there. I don't like Jordan Henderson in that position. I don't think he's talented enough. I don't think he passes the ball well enough. He seemed to vacate the central midfield too much in the games that I saw. He's a very average Premier League player for me, not a top-class international player. So I think that needs addressing. But the biggest thing for me is I'd like to see a Dele Alli or a Lallana come in at number 10, but I'd like to see Rashford then come a little bit more central with Harry Kane. I think if you have Harry Kane up top, you have Rashford somewhere near him, you have perhaps Lallana, Dele Alli, potentially 2 of those in your attacking force. Playing a 3-5-2, I think England have a much more realistic chance of being successful at the World Cup. I'm not sure that I think Gareth Southgate is going to go down that way. I think he's going to do what happens at Manchester United, is that Rashford gets pushed out to the side, where they go with their other number 9, whether it's Zlatan, whether it's Lukaku, in this case Harry Kane for England. I'd like to see Rashford a little bit more central. So those are my opinions on the English national team. Those are my opinions on how I think they can be a little bit more successful at the World Cup if they implemented some of these tactical changes. Maybe then had a little bit of luck, I could perhaps see them going a little bit deeper in the World Cup than I can right now. Right now, I don't see them being too successful when the summer comes around. So those are my opinions on English national team. If you got something different, if you are an England fan and you agree with me, disagree with me, then please leave a comment. If you think that you've got a better system, you've got some more tactics that you want to share, then we're willing to listen. So please write the comments. I like to hear from everybody. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch up soon. Cheers, guys.